here real quick. Hey guys,
You got
we just had the audio muted. We were trying to get some things dialed in. I'm going to get LinkedIn Live here going, but Marty is here.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Another Thursday afternoon. Great to be here. Another good show. I know Steven's getting the feeds going. So
Yep.
we're going to talk about building community today. I'm looking forward to this show. It's kind of a continuation of what we did last week, I think.
I think it adds on to what we were talking about last week. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty good. Let me see here. Just get everything updated, up and going. Um,
I'll share this on LinkedIn. I just saw it go live.
oh, LinkedIn's live.
Yep. I just got the notification.
Okay.
There we are.
Yep.
So let me get that shared.
I gotta find it on LinkedIn Live. Let me see here. Where is it on Link? Is it on the Telestream page? Because I'm not seeing.
It is, and if you go to the notifications, if you're on the web,
Okay.
you'll see it in your notifications.
It is under notification. Why don't they put it right on instantly onto the page? Sorry for you guys on LinkedIn. I think we're Hey, what's up, JS? All right.
Oh, I see it on Facebook.
Yep. Okay, so it looks like we're live everywhere up on here. Well, over on Vocal we were so I'll start the broadcast here on Vocal as soon as we get going. Brad won't be with us today, so Jeremy, if you are around, I don't know if Jeremy's online. He might be in a meeting or something, but we're going to do our best to facilitate here. So if you guys have comments, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Hey, Luke. We're going to get started here just in a few short moments, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. Marty and I will do our best. You got to watch. You got to try to watch both LinkedIn and Facebook. I have them both open, but I'm not always jumping back and forth. And I'll keep an eye
I'm
on
gonna
Vocal
try.
and Discord.
Hey, Luke on Facebook. I'm gonna try to watch Facebook.
Okay, I'll
At
keep
least the
LinkedIn open
comments
then.
refresh. So
Okay, so if you watch Facebook, I'll keep open Get Vocal and I'll keep open LinkedIn. That way I don't have to switch
okay,
back. I could just look at it and then you watch Facebook.
sounds good.
All right, so guys, we're gonna get started here. So it's gonna go dark, and we'll be back here shortly with the show. Hey guys, welcome to another edition of On Social, the show that talks about everything to do with live video, professional live video on social media. And as always, I've got my co-host here, Mr. Marty McPadden from Podjam.tv. Welcome back, sir.
Hello, Steven. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm really excited for today's show.
Yeah, I'm too. It's a great topic.
It is a
Much
great.
needed topic to
It's a
talk
much
about.
needed. Yeah, that's probably a better way to put it. Right, it's a much needed topic. If you guys didn't know already, we put out the banner about building a community because this is something that we feel like a lot of people struggle with. They want to have a live broadcast or they want to do professional video on a platform, Marty, and they don't know where to start. There's so many things that are thrown at them. And we alluded last week that you're really good at certain things, and I know we've got a list here that we want to kind of get into. But Before we do that, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping here, right quick. Next week, because of the 4th of July holiday, normally we do the show on a Thursday. I want to reiterate to everybody, next week the show will be Wednesday at 2 p.m. Same time, but a different day. So if you show up Thursday, you're going to be by yourself. We won't be here. But um, Wednesday, we'll be here at 2 p.m. We'll do the show, and just want to let everybody know about that. So, um, going forward here, building a community, Marty, this has been something that's been just diving into this. This has been in the forefront of everybody's mind. How do we build a community? How do we get people engaged and involved? And what kind of steps need to be taken? And I'm going to kind of let you lead off on this because you have a lot of really good points, especially like last week we alluded to one of the things that you like to do. So I'll let you kind of dive into this a little bit. What are some of the things that you like to do to establish and start building a community?
Well, I think the number one thing, especially if you're just starting out, is engagement. Now we hear that word a lot. It kind of is a buzz term to some degree, but it's very, very important. And community really doesn't get built until you really get in and really be engaged with the people that you're trying to build community with. So when you're starting out, obviously you don't have an audience. If anybody, you're probably talking to nobody when you're first starting out, especially doing live. But especially when you're doing live streaming, the whole purpose of it is the live part, right? Is interacting with your community, especially with social videos. The show is called On social video. You're usually broadcasting to social media networks and communities, right?
Mhm.
So it's not like the old days where it's mass media broadcast where it's one way out, and that's certainly legitimate. And there are shows that are done that way. But the whole purpose of social video is to have that one-on-one exchange of ideas, back and forth, comments. We're getting comments now on Facebook, and we can talk about some of the technical challenges in dealing with that. But I would say the number one thing is engagement. And whether you do it during the broadcast, especially when you're doing it from a mobile device and you're looking at the stream,
That's
just
tough.
saying hello to people. It is. It's a challenge. We can talk about the technical challenges, but just saying hello, like Luke and Aaron or Apon. See, I have it from a distance, so I can't see
Yeah.
the names entirely. But just saying hello to people as they comment, maybe reference a comment or two, is very, very important. And then on the platforms that have persistent comments like Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube, or YouTube doesn't, Facebook and LinkedIn especially. Go if you can't answer the comments during the actual stream, go back and engage after the fact, because people are watching that. Your stream is still live. People are watching a replay. No reason why you can't go back, and someone has a question, go back and engage and answer questions and engage with people. Thank them for showing up and showing interest. If you do that with people, they're going to come back. They want to feel like they belong to the community, right? And one way to do that is make them feel part of the family, right?
Or if you want, that you want him there. And that was something I mentioned last week. If those that don't remember, Marty is very good at, and that's something I picked up on with him. Is he goes back after the fact. He goes back after the show. He'll go through the comments. If somebody said, "Hey, great show, guys," or "Hey, Marty, I really liked your point on this," he'll make sure to go back and say thank you, or and that's something I've learned over the time working with Marty. So I think that that's a good start to building your community because people don't want a one-sided relationship. I mean, think about it. If you're married and you have a wife or a husband and you didn't take the time to speak to them on a daily basis, how far do you really think that relationship would go? Probably not too far. So same thing is with your audience. I mean, if you just show up once a week to do a show, never talk to your audience, they're not going to stick around and come back to you. I mean, I make it a point, Marty. I get involved with a lot of the groups that are on the social media platforms and get in there and converse with a lot of folks. A lot of folks will send me private messages and converse that way. I think if you're not doing that, you need to start doing that because if you don't, you're not going to build a community.
Yeah, I agree. And you bring up a really good tip there, Stephen. If you're on Facebook, and I know a lot of people stream to Facebook, if you're not leveraging Facebook groups as part of your strategy, as part of your community building strategy, I think you're leaving a lot on the table. I think that offers a lot of opportunity. The difference between like a page and a group, and I think you can stream to both.
Yes.
Pages, you
Hmm.
could still comment, right? But groups are more about the the community itself, more about everyone has a stake in it, right? So if you're truly interested in building a community, that's a great way to do it, you know, to encourage that. And then you have to be a participant. I see some groups on Facebook. Well, I don't know if the group leader or the administrator, I don't know if they expect people just to have their own conversations or they post stuff on there. And usually when they post, it's just, self promotion and there's no conversation going on. You can't expect to build a community that way.
Right.
If you really want to build a community, it's got to be a two-way street, and you got to put the work in, and that means talking to everybody, and really having those conversations. So yeah, I think that's key. I think you raised a really good point there, Stephen. And it's also a step-by-step process. I think a lot of
It's
people
not
want
overnight.
community like instantaneous. No, it's not overnight
It's
at
not
all,
overnight.
and
No.
it just takes step by step. So yeah, absolutely, I think that's a great suggestion.
I mean, even with this show, there has been another host prior to Telestream shows. There was another host. He built a community. Some of those people stuck around. They kind of wanted to see what this show was going to be about. A lot of them stuck around and liked it. And then you and I, Marty, we built our following over the last, however many years. People from my personal brand, your personal brand, and we kind of came together to do the show with Telestream, and now we're doing it, and we're bringing that audience in to this community, and they're getting intermingled. And so it's a slow process. A year from now, we're going to look back at it and go, oh my goodness, how this grew. So we haven't arrived. We're still building community just like everybody else out there, but we're taking what we learned from our individual brands and our individual communities that we have, and we're applying it here for you guys to hopefully pick up some community members. Now, one of the things I know we have down here is that about talking to people who care about your content. You kind of want to get into that and talk about what your thought process is behind that.
Yeah, and I'm just going to refer to my notes here on engaging with community. You want to be speaking with people that care about your content. So if we're doing a show here on social video, on being leveraging social with live video, right? And so you're going to be talking about people that care about that type of content. Also, we talked a little bit before about continuing that conversation after the live stream. So I'm looking at the comments here. So I'm looking off camera here. It's a little disconcerting. I'm trying to look in the camera, but I got my monitor on here. And I'm trying to, I'm trying to keep track of the comments. And we're live streaming to multiple platforms. So I know we're going LinkedIn, Facebook, Get Vocal, YouTube. There's comment platforms on all of them. So forgive me, I can't see all of them at the same time. And that's part of the technical challenge, and we may be able to get into maybe the technical part of this in a future show.
Yeah.
But at least I'm looking at Facebook here, and I know you were looking at some other ones there, and I'm trying to keep up. If there's something that comes in, people have questions, I'm looking at it there, and I'm trying to kind of split the difference. But again, even if you can't get to all the comments, you can even mention that during your live stream. Say, look, I'm one person. I go to multiple platforms. I'm trying to keep up with the comments. If I miss your comment, I will get back to it after the live stream is over, and we can continue the conversation there. It does not have to end.
Right.
The live stream part of it is just one part of engagement. The other part of it is getting those comments, continue the conversation after the video's over.
That's something we encourage here too. We tell people, listen, leave your comment. Even if we didn't get to it, or we didn't call you out specifically during the broadcast, leave it there, because we want to hopefully get you an answer or point you in the right direction, right? To get somebody to answer that question, right?
Right. And I'm going to say hello to Sandra McKenna there. I saw her. So I'm watching Facebook. Hey, Sandra. But yeah, if you can't, it's great if you can say hi to people. But if you can't, go back to that.
Well, real quick, before you get into this, we're also on the Get Vocal platform, and Badges, Lindsay Badger in that chat room says, and she's being serious with this question, because I think a lot of people, have this mentality, but she says, is there ever a point that you actually arrive on social?
Oh, that's a great
question. Like, a lot of people read that as like,
goodness.
oh, that person's strong. But no, it's a legitimate question, because I think, well, I'll let you go. What do you take from that question?
I was gonna toss it back to you, but
okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I don't know if you want to. You can take it first. I'll add on.
Okay. Well, I think with this, a lot of times with social, you get all these quote unquote influencers and ambassadors and whatever, these brand people that think they've arrived and they can't learn anything else. And I think they shoot themselves in the foot with their community when they get to that point, because I think then people lose respect and they lose trust and they lose that the ability to go to that person, and it just becomes a show, a facade. I think more so than anything. I think that a lot of people would just rather a transparent person that said, you know what, listen, I got a lot to learn with this social media. Yeah, I've got 50,000 followers, but you know what? I'm still learning every day. I'm still putting out different content. I think if somebody actually had and arrived, they'd be millionaire because they would have the formula. I don't know. I guess that's kind of where I stand with Marty.
Yeah, and everything you just said, and I'll tack on that. 100% agree. I think the most successful people realize that you never truly arrive. I think also the most successful people embrace the journey. I mean, pick something. That's why it's so important. You know, when I talk to people about, you know, oh, they want to start a live streaming channel or YouTube, you know, whatever they're doing, I always ask them the question: is that something you're really passionate about? Something you would do for free? Something you would talk about if social wasn't around or wasn't, you know, available? Would you talk about it with your friends, right? And you know, and if the answer is yes, they're more likely to do it for a much longer time consistently because they don't have any agenda, you know, and they're not putting the cart before the horse. So, you know, with this kind of stuff, I mean, you never truly know everything, right? So the most, you know,
Absolutely not.
you'll get to a point. Yeah, I mean, when you're just starting out, you know nothing, and you're learning. So every little step is great. So celebrate those and break it down. Celebrate those small steps. So the first time you go live, that's a big accomplishment. Great, that's one accomplishment, right? Build on that. Maybe you can't. Maybe you just have your laptop camera and the built-in microphone, and it doesn't sound great, but at least you're doing something. And then maybe you add a USB mic, and maybe you add a light, and and then maybe you get into some switching, you know, you build it up slowly, you know, and then maybe you're adding content, maybe bringing someone in, you know, and you're constantly adding to it. That's the thing, including adding to your community,
Yeah,
right? But add to your knowledge. I mean, we talked about this all the time, Stephen, on the technical side. I mean, I'm constantly and a lot this stuff especially changes all the time. I mean, when we first met, you know, a number of years ago, it's completely different now. So many different things have happened in that span of time, like 3 years or whatever that we've known each other, right?
that's
I
right.
mean, it's just constantly learning. And I'm like, even with the stuff I do outside the show, my day job, my business, I'm constantly tweaking workflows and you know, I do a lot of editing and production. Can I do it better? What can I, oh, what's this? And just testing. I mean, I'm never finished, you know? So like with social, you never truly, I think with Badge's question, you never truly arrive, in my opinion. There's always something next. And that's the fun of it. You know, if you're not in it to embrace what you're doing and embrace the journey part, it's like the destination is boring to me.
That's what
You
she's
know, it's
saying
like,
here too. She's saying you have to have
right.
that. It's a mindset. You have to have that you want to constantly grow. And Brett goes on to say, you know, be willing to learn and constantly learn is the way. And they're absolutely right. You don't want to be the know-it-all. You can be the person that has the experience that somebody doesn't have experiences going to help out. But when you
Yeah.
get to the point and say, you know, I'm an expert, I'm a pro, you just totally lost your community.
Yeah, I will say this. I think you can say that you're a professional, and I define professional as are you being paid for it? Then that's kind of the definition of professional. The expert part, I would never put that in a title or whatever because that's not for me to judge. That's for other people. That's for clients to judge. If the clients think I do a good job, then they're gonna hire me and pay me. Or if people think I know maybe some things that I can share, they may listen and implement some advice. I mean, but as far as me calling myself an expert, I would never do that because I don't know. What do you think?
Well, Marty's an expert. I'll tell you this right out because he's got the blue check mark on Twitter, so that makes him an expert. That makes him
Right.
an influencer. He's got
Right.
the blue check mark on
Right.
Facebook. So yeah, it's legit. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here
Oh,
first.
brother.
But no, he's absolutely right. I mean, these are the things that your community is going to feed off of, and they're going to go, wait, I don't want anything to do with these people. They're smug. Um, one of the notes, I love this that you have this on here. Offer reasons to belong to your community, and these are things that I think people need to do. Give somebody a reason. I mean, if you're not communicating with them, well, why would they want to stick around?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's exactly right. I mean, what's in it for them, right? Think about turn it around a little bit when you're doing these live streams. Would you watch yourself? And again, I'm not talking about being perfect.
sure.
Not talking about, there's always, I mean, listen, there's always stuff that we can do better. And that's part of the fun. That's part of the journey, right? But would you be interested in what you're talking about? Is it worth your half hour? That's what you have to ask yourself. If it's not, and if you're getting that feedback, take it to heart. Say, oh, what can I do to make it more interesting? I mean, that should be part of the whole process.
Well, and
So, I mean, think about that. Put yourself in the viewer's shoes.
that's absolutely true. And a lot of you mentioned Facebook groups earlier, and there's different groups on LinkedIn and other places. You mentioned about with these groups getting involved. If you're creating a group, make sure you make that group worth being a part of. Whatever the content, don't just make it all about yourself. One of the things that I do outside of the tech and broadcast industry is I have an outdoor industry an outdoor brand that I run, and I have a page, and we post content that our brand makes, but we also, Marty, I mean, we put out there, we go out to the community and say, hey, look it, I'm out feeding the deer today, getting ready for the season. What does your setup look like? What are you guys doing? And we want them to post that below, because now what you're doing is you're establishing community. You're getting these people that are watching your page and saying, wow, he's including me. He cares about what my setup looks like, not just what his setup looks like, and celebrate Steven because Steven's putting out this great picture. It's about
Yep.
getting people involved. And I think that's so key that you have that on there. You're
Can I add
encouraging.
can I add one more thing to that? Can I add one more
Absolutely.
thing to that? I would say, full transparency, we have a group, Pro Broadcasters Group, that has gone under some neglect here and there. Now, with that said, if I'm neglecting the group, I have no expectation of people wanting to be part of that group in a meaningful way, right? That can change. I mean, we could do
Sure.
better, right? What I think the example you bring up with your outdoors group is a perfect example. You put a lot of time and effort into that with the community. The expectation is that you're going to build community, and there's a two-way street, two-way communication there. That's what you have to do, right? And I had something else. Oh, the other thing I want to mention is, say if you don't have a group, I think the other thing that people really miss out on when they're trying to build community is it's not always all about you.
Yep.
Right? You don't have to post to Facebook 15 million times a day, or some type of post up there that you're trying to game and trying to get responses to or likes or whatever. And people play all kinds of games. Take some time out of your schedule to go and engage on other people's stuff, whether it's a group, whether it's another post. It's just like posting. You're helping someone else. You're engaging with someone else. And
Yep.
what you're going to do is you're actually building your integrity and your community by commenting on other people's posts. And they're getting to know you, and they say, wait, Marty, I'm glad to see you here. And by the way, and then when they see you post in your group, chances are they're going to come over and check you out and see what you're offering.
Because they're going to
Because
say,
you're
I've
already
seen that guy.
exactly,
Yep.
you're already engaging with them. And I see this with influencers all the time, think they made it. They're the biggest culprits. They don't engage with anybody. And they pose and they expect people to just come running. And it doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that. Plus, it's fun. Engage with it's that most of my engagement is in other people's posts. I enjoy going through the timeline. I look at other people's I comment. I get enjoyment. In fact, if you try it, you get enjoyment, and then you build community that way. So don't forget about that part of it, because then when you start your own, you're gonna already have a community already. It's gonna be in different places, but they're all gonna kind of check you out that way.
Yeah, don't just be a content creator, be a content engager. You have to do both. It's a two-way street. That's one of my big pet peeves, and I said this last show, and I'm going to say it again. A lot of people say, "Well, I just create content. I don't consume it." That's bull. You need to get out there and you
Yeah,
need to
I agree.
consume it just as much as creating it, because these are the same people that are going to be a part of your community, whether you want them to or not, because you guys have like-minded content. So, you know, just go there. Don't be concerned about the extremes as he has here. I mean,
Yep.
these are things that you really need to take to heart. I mean, you want a successful community, be there, be down to earth. I mean, we talked about this on another show you and I had done about a week ago. We talked about how you and I we've met in person, and we met a couple other people in person, and people met me at NAB, and they were in the chat going, "Yeah, he's the same way in person
Yeah,
that he is, except that I'm taller, that he is
I
on
can
camera."
confirm that. Yes.
And that's what you but honestly, that's what you want people to be saying about you. They don't wanna say, "Oh, well, his persona online is he's a really nice guy," but when you meet him in person, yeah, he's not somebody I would wanna hang out with, and that's not what you want. Marty, you talked about transparency. This is what your community needs to see. And I'm not saying air all your dirty laundry out there. I mean, you gotta have somewhat of a private life, but
Yes.
but the way you treat people in person is how you should treat them online, even though a lot of people don't do that.
I would say this. I would say it's about authenticity, right?
Yeah,
So, and which is just what you said, Stephen. Perfect, right? You don't have to share every little thing about your life. There are certain things that are private. Don't you s- and trans people get caught up in this word transparency. They think that, oh, transparency means I got to share everything. No, you don't. But when you do share, you know, be honest. If you can't be honest for whatever reason and private, don't share it. You don't have to share everything, but be honest, be authentic. And then when people like Steven, you told the perfect story. When people meet you, it's like, oh yeah, I know Steven. Oh yeah, there. It's like the only difference is you're not behind a TV screen. You're
right,
in person.
right.
There's no show. It's like and that's another thing as far as live streaming. I see people do this all the time. Don't put on it. Don't unless you're putting on a play or doing a dramatic reading or whatever, acting. If you're doing a straightforward show, don't put on a show. Be yourself because what you're going to do is you're going to attract the right people for you. If you're always putting on a show and being inauthentic and being somebody else, you're going to attract the wrong audience,
Right.
and then you can't keep that facade up. So, and if you don't think you're good enough, don't worry. There's an audience for everybody, and you'll connect with the right people. So don't be afraid to be yourself.
And these topics have come in from the community. We've been pulling these for the show from the community. So one of the questions that came up last week that we didn't get to, which was fine because it ties into what we were going to talk about this week. And the question was, how do people encourage others to share the video? And I assume like on social media, Marty. And exactly what you're saying. If you want people to share your stuff, you can't be afraid to share their stuff, and you can't be afraid to go over and like their posts. Again, don't just be a consumer, but also an engager. You have to do both. It's one helps the other. I go
Yeah.
on other pages. I like other posts. I like other people's posts because if I want people to share my stuff, I can't be afraid to share other people's stuff. And I think that doesn't mean you go out if you're not if the type of content that you're in is tech. Let's just use that as an example. I'm not telling you to go to the Food Network places and go and share that all over because you're not going to get engagement on it because most people are following you because of tech. So you have to be mindful with that. I want to put that that disclaimer there. But am I right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You said it perfectly. Whatever niche you're in, I think the big one of the biggest mistakes you can make is see other people in your niche as competition. Because what's going to happen? Think about it this way: people that are interested in, say, if it's Apple products, all right, there's a ton of content being done around Apple products, Apple computers, iPhones, right? The people that are interested in that niche, and I'm one of them. I watch a lot of content on that area. It's one of my areas of interest. I'm going to watch multiple sources about the same thing. So why do people view it as competition? I see a lot of people that are successful in that niche working together, and
Like
same
what
thing
we
you're
did.
bringing up, Stephen. Exactly. Exactly. Same thing we did, right? Um, Go engage in other people's stuff, and what you're going to find is you're building that community, and it's not competition at all. It's building your community, and people that are watching your stuff are going to watch the other guy's stuff, and it's going to watch 5 or 6 different podcasts or video streams or whatever, So you're all kind of helping each other. You're all getting the same eyeballs and people that are interested in niche. And I totally agree with you there. You don't have to go out and like go out in some other weird niche and expect people to engage. They're probably not. If they're not interested in your content, it's not a black market against you. It's just they're not interested in that
They're just not
niche.
into it.
So
Yeah.
I would seek out things in your niche, probably be build better community that way. But yeah, I think the mistake people make is they see that as helping the competition, and it couldn't be further. It's like opposite of that.
Yep.
So don't make that mistake. You gain a lot of advantages and a lot of opportunity that way in building your community, and also other things that you could do with the other person, collaborations and things like that. So don't leave that on the table by any stretch.
And before we wrap, I want to kind of just tag on to a little bit of that. When Marty and I first met, we met on a platform, and we would hang out. He was in the broadcasting. He was doing. I was in the broadcast. So we clicked and hit off right from there. Well, he decided. I was doing a show called Broadcast Now. He decided he was going to do a show called BTS Live, which you and Mark Rogers, you guys have
Mhm.
heard him mention, um, where he was co-hosting that show with Marty, and we would get done with our show, and or you guys would have your show first, or however it worked. We would promote each other. We'd say, hey, listen, you guys can't get
Mhm.
enough of broadcasting, go watch BTS Live. They're going to be live such and
Right.
such a day. I'd even have you on the show as a guest at the beginning,
Yep.
just to kind of help promote your show. I never looked at you as competition. It was kind of like, good, we've got more people that are trying to get the word about professional broadcasting out to the public, and both of us grew because of it. And that's the mindset
Exactly.
people need to get in, and that's what Marty's trying to say is that's where we need to be at, and that ultimately is going to build your community. Don't be afraid to
It's
work with people.
it's funny because I think for a lot of people it's counterintuitive. It's like, wait a minute, if I'm helping the competition, how am I going to grow my show? It's like people forget. No, it's more about the niche, more about because if people are into that, they're going to consume a lot of it, and there's
That's
room for
right.
everybody. You can't believe me. People that are I'm into certain things. I know, like with the outdoors, you're into outdoors. You probably can't get enough of it.
Yep.
Because that's what you're into, right? You're gonna seek out multiple sources and yeah, bring it on. So it's good for everybody.
Even the arcade racket that I got into, with these arcade games that I have here
Yep.
in the studio. There's not just one channel that I watch for people how to do things. There's so many different people out there that have really good takes on this stuff that I'm like, "Oh, I'll subscribe to him. Oh, he's friends with this guy. Well, I'm definitely going to subscribe to him because I respect this guy and I've done some
Right.
of the stuff that he does. So if he's saying I should go talk to this guy and follow this guy, well, heck, I'm going to go follow him." It's that same mindset, and we've adopted
Yep.
that in our own brand here and what we're doing. So keep that in mind, guys. And I really hope that you got some light shed on how you can build your community. Again, we're being straight up as honest. Keep those topics coming. We'll keep the show rolling. Marty, I know unfortunately we are out of time. We're gonna have to go through comments and stuff as we go. But thank you so much. You guys can check him out at podjam.tv, at Marty McPadden, just about everywhere on the web if you want to follow him and like his stuff. But Marty, really appreciate it. You brought a lot to the table today.
Thank you very much, sir.
Eh,
Pleasure. I love doing these shows.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And guys, remember next week the show will be on Wednesday. I said at the beginning of the show, it'll be on Wednesday, July 3rd at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be back for more here with On Social. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of your week and see you then.